Parents, why do you hate your kid? The day I met my foster son Benji, he walked into my house holding a plastic bag with a rock inside. He held it up to me very seriously and said, "This is Leonard. He's shy, but he likes you already." Benji named everything. His backpack was Gerald. Both shoes were Steve because they're twins. It would be weird to separate them. When I asked what he wanted to be when he grew up, he didn't hesitate. A pilot. He said it like it was already true, like the plane was just waiting for him to get tall enough. He'd stand in the backyard with his arms out making engine sounds. "Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. Gerald will be serving snacks. Doctors always told me I couldn't have biological children. That's why I fostered Benji. So when I got pregnant at 36, I didn't believe it. Made them test me 3 times. I was having a girl." Benji saw the ultrasound on the fridge before I could tell him. That night, he sat on the edge of his bed and asked quietly, "Will you still be my mom?" I knelt down and held his face in both hands. Always. Nothing changes that. Ever. The day Aaliyah was born, Benji asked to hold her. I placed her in his arms and he looked down at her for a long time. "She looks like a potato," he whispered. Then he smiled. "I love her." He meant it. Those first few years, he became the best big brother. He made her laugh and shared his favorite toys. When she turned 2, he made her a handwritten birthday card. "You are less of a potato now." But then Aaliyah turned 4 and something shifted. Aaliyah broke a vase while I was in the living room one day. I heard the crash and came running. She looked me right in the eyes and pointed at Benji. He did it. Benji was literally outside in the garden kicking a ball. When I told Aaliyah I knew she broke the vase, she just shrugged. No guilt, no embarrassment, nothing behind her eyes. I thought it was a one-time thing. But then next week she told her teacher I didn't give her breakfast. She'd had 2 helpings of pancakes that morning, but the school still called concerned. Then she told the neighbors Benji hit her. She rolled up her sleeve and showed them a fake bruise she'd drawn on using my makeup. I showed the neighbors photos with timestamps proving Benji was with me at the time he'd supposedly hit her, but they still looked at me differently. She was 5 years old, and I was already scared of her. The psychologist said she was testing boundaries. By 6, Benji had stopped playing with her completely. He'd stay in his room with the door locked. One night he came to me staring at his hands. Aaliyah told her friend I heard her cat. I've never even seen the cat. I was horrified. But before I could respond, Benji added, "Aaliyah also said if I tell you about the lies, she'll say I hit her. She said people believe little girls over big boys and I'll go to jail. I don't want to go to jail." He was 13 and 6 feet tall, and his hands were shaking. I told him I'd protect him. I promised. But then 2 months later, someone knocked on my door. A woman with a clipboard. A man in uniform. "Are you the guardian of Benjamin Carter?" When I said yes, they sat me down and told me they'd received a report of inappropriate contact between my foster son and my bio daughter. They said she'd shown bruises consistent with her story. My stomach dropped. I called Benji downstairs immediately. Sure, it was a misunderstanding. He came out confused. Then he saw the officer. "Your sister says you touched her," the officer told him. Benji literally shot back in confusion. "What? I would never do that." "Mom!" He looked at me desperate and terrified. "I know, baby," I responded loud enough for them to hear, but they didn't care. The caseworker asked to speak with Aaliyah privately. I watched her come downstairs in tears that looked real. The woman took her into the living room and closed the door. I could hear Aaliyah sobbing, the caseworker writing something down. They came out 15 minutes later, Aaliyah still in tears. Then she pointed toward Benji's room. The officer and caseworker practically ran up. They searched his room for an hour, flipped his mattress, emptied every drawer onto the floor. They found nothing. Still, the woman looked at me and said, "We're required to remove Benjamin pending investigation." "You found nothing! He's innocent!" I screamed. "Ma'am, the accusation is serious." Benji started crying, grabbing my arm. "Mom, please, I didn't do anything." The officer pulled him away. He screamed the whole way to the car. "Mom, I didn't do anything." His face pressed against the car window, looking at me like I could still save him. The car pulled away. I turned around, and Aaliyah was just on the couch, a bag of chips in her lap, watching her iPad. She saw me watching her, then just looked up and smiled at me. I fought the case with everything I had, but Aaliyah kept her story consistent. A 6-year-old's word against a 13-year-old meant everything. Benji went to juvie. The day he got sentenced, I put Aaliyah up for adoption. The day they took her, she didn't cry or ask why, just grabbed her iPad and walked out. I never found out why she did anything. Psychologists tell me there's no cause and she's destined to be in and out of jail her whole life. Last week, I visited Benji and he told me he stopped thinking about being a pilot. They don't let people like me fly planes.